Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest. As per a viewer request, an update to Pointerra. It has been about 6 months since I last did a video on this company, November 2022. And during that 6 month period, the valuation of this company has halved. In fact, the share price has fallen from about 20 cents to 10 cents. Now, that's suggesting that the market is a little bit wary about this company because they're not profitable. However, if you look at the March quarter Appendix 4C, you'll find out that they are operating cash flow positive on a quarterly basis, but during the first 9 months of the year, they're actually operating cash flow negative. So concerns of the market are that this company is burning through a little bit of cash, not a lot, a little bit of cash. And probably other concerns is the growth potential and current growth of this company. And I'll talk about that during the video. Now, I am still fairly bullish in regards to this company. So I do have a small position in Pointerra. And if, it's a big if they do prove to me that they are in a sustainable business, which means they generate free cash flow on a quarterly basis, that's when I will add to my position. And who knows what the valuation might be at that point, because it's fallen from 140 million to 70 million. Who knows, in another 6 months, the valuation of this company could be 35 million. And all that hype we saw in this company in 2020 has really faded away. Now, a few facts in regards to Pointerra. And I just went to their website just to have a look to see what it's like. And it's interesting that they call themselves Pointerra 3D now, the world's fastest true end-to-end digital twin solution. So did they do a subtle name change? I don't know. Anyway, if you go to their About page, they say Pointerra 3D, sort of supporting this little hypothesis of mine that they've subtly changed the name of the company, is a true end-to-end solution that stores, processes, manages, analyzes, extracts, visualizes, and shares key insights from massive 3D data at a new level of speed, smarts, and scale. I'm just really interested that on their homepage, they just say the world's fastest true end-to-end digital twin solution. I actually have no idea what digital twin means, so I will Google that after I've recorded this video. So Pointerra has been around for about 8 years, founded in 2015, listed on the ASX in July 2016. It was a backdoor listing via Soil Sub Technologies, and whatever Soil Sub Technologies were trying to do completely failed, and they're no longer in existence. CEO is Ian Olsen, and one of the largest shareholders is Bevan Slattery. But as I've mentioned already, the valuation of this company has fallen significantly in the last 6 months. In fact, it's fallen really significantly in the last 18 to 24 months. In fact, right now, Pointerra has a market cap of 71 million. That's a share price of 10.5 cents. Now, that was the end of trading on May the 23rd. And I just had a look at the share price now, and the share price was hovering around that level. And the ticker code, one of the best ticker codes on the ASX, because it tells me everything about this company, and that is 3DP. And to be honest, 3DP, the ticker code, doesn't tell me everything about the company. I'm being a little bit facetious. Facetious, is that the correct word I should be using? Anyway, onto their Appendix 4C. And the whole motivating force for me doing this video was to have a look at the March quarter results for financial year 23. Before we get there, let's go back 1 year just to see how Pointerra was performing or did perform in the March quarter financial year 22. Receipts of customers 2.4 million and barely operating cash flow positive, but they were operating cash flow positive by 64,000. The other very important aspect of Pointerra or Pointerra 3D, maybe that's the name now, is they don't spend any money in financing and investing activities. So any research and development is in their cash flows from operating activities. It's a little bit different from other tech companies who put research and development into their IP section, which is in their investing activities. So those sort of companies will have better operating cash flow. If Pointerra did that, their operating cash flow for this particular quarter would have been, say, almost 500,000 or just above 499,000. Anyway, doesn't mean they would. I think that's when they do that. That means they capitalize research and development, and Pointerra's expensing. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's what Pointerra does. When other companies put their research and development into the IP within financing, I believe they are capitalizing research and development. Now, because they don't spend a lot of money in financing, investing activities, if this company is operating cash flow positive, more than likely they're going to be free cash flow positive. That's not exactly true for this quarter because the cash on hand actually fell $100,000. And the main reason, the only reason cash fell in this particular quarter was because of negative exchange rates or negatively affecting or exchange rates negatively affecting their cash flow. And that was to the tune of $144,000. Now let's have a look at the most recent March quarter results for Pointerra 3D. Cash receipts up to 3.3 million, was a 3.25 million, and the company was operating cash flow positive by 531,000. Now, that would be a really good number if they were continually operating cash flow positive on a quarterly basis. That's not exactly true, and we can see that in the next column. Year to date, Pointerra is actually operating cash flow negative by 233,000. Again, research and development, $840,000 in this particular quarter. So add that back to operating cash flow, you get 1.3 million. But I don't like to do that. I like when companies do put their research and development into the cash flows from operating activities. That's just me. I like to be a little bit more conservative. But again, because this company doesn't spend any money in investing, financing activities, that operating cash flow is free cash flow and it goes to the bottom line. So the cash on hand actually increased from 2.7 million to 3.3 million. And the main reason this was a good quarter, in my opinion, for 3D Pointerra, or Pointerra 3D, whatever you want to call it now, is they did show a little bit of scale. Okay? So cash receipts grew by 900,000, but their spending didn't grow quite as much as that. In fact, product manufacturing operating costs down 100,000. But you do have to look at these results with a grain of salt because you're not looking at changes in working capital, that sort of thing. And the other thing to take into account when you look at Pointerra's results is the lumpiness in their receipts. And that will become apparent when we look at the cash receipts history, which might be the next slide. And no, it's not the next slide. In fact, it's the next slide now, I think. But the first thing I want to go through is this particular graph that they used to show. So this is from the 31st of October. So this would have been from the September quarter results. So in every single quarter report, this company, Pointerra, would include this sort of graph, which is the cumulative cash receipts and ACV. They haven't provided this graph in the last 2 quarters, which is a little bit dodgy. And the main reason they decided not to include this graph in the latest quarter results is because ACV isn't growing anymore. In fact, there was a little statement in the most recent March quarter results which states ACV currently stands at between 19.7 million and 22.1 million, pending outcome of remaining utility customer contract renewals, and is expected to continue growing during quarter 4 and into financial year 24 as ACV growth trajectory resumes. So on the worst case scenario here, ACV has actually fallen from 2 quarters ago, from the September quarter, from 20.1 million to 19.7 million. And the best case scenario, it's only grown by $2 million in the last 2 quarters. Now, historically, ACV for this company has grown at $2 million per quarter, not over 2 quarters. So even the best case scenario wouldn't have been a good graph for company to show it to shareholders and the market. And that's the reason, in my opinion, they decided not to show this particular graph in the last 2 quarters. So I would say it's a little bit dodgy, but that's exactly what management should do. They should highlight the positives. They should also mention the negatives, but you don't really want to highlight the negatives, that sort of thing. And I think if they did that, if they showed the latest update graph of this, that could have been highlighting the negatives, that ACV is not growing quite as quick as it was once in the last few years. I didn't quite say that, right? As it once was in the last few years, as it has been in the last few years. Anyway, onto the receipts history. I've already mentioned that receipts for this company can be quite lumpy. And one of the main goals for management moving forward, and as this company matures, receipts will be smoothed out. You won't see this lumpiness. And I can imagine quite a few shareholders and quite a few investors would become nervous about the lumpiness, particularly if we see one of those bad quarters in terms of cash receipts, like the December quarter of this year, June quarter of last year, even the September quarter 2021. We did see a significant decrease in receipts in that one quarter. But generally, you have to look, not generally, but you have to look at the trend in receipts over time. Try to smooth out the lumpiness yourself. And when you do that for Pointerra 3D, there is no doubt that receipts are growing through time. But the market does not care about that at all at this point in time, because when you look at the chart, this is a very negative looking chart. Sentiment is negative in this company. Negative sentiment leads to a downtrend in share price. So this particular daily chart for Pointerra goes all the way back to November 2021. So we're looking in the last 18 months. And even before this, share price was higher. So November 2021, the share price was around 44 cents. Share price high for this company, 94 cents. And in fact, we'll see when that was when we look at the next slide, which is the weekly chart. So no end in sight to the downtrend in Pointerra. Whenever I think maybe the share price is trying to consolidate, and I thought that was happening between May and February, so over about an 8-month period, I thought maybe the share price is trying to consolidate, but then that was broken. That consolidation period was broken in February of this year when they did release their half-year results. The market didn't like that. Massive volume came in on that day, and now the share price is going sideways again. So at this point in time, what we need, what Pointerra needs to show, the market needs to show me, is that they have reached a very important inflection point of becoming cash flow positive, free cash flow positive on a quarterly basis. So every single quarter needs to be free cash flow positive. So the half year and the full year are free cash flow positive. And that, I think, could be the turnaround for this company. Now, as the share price keeps on dropping, the valuation of this company becomes more and more attractive, particularly if you think this company has the potential like I do. So I am keeping a close eye on Pointerra. And if I do see any signs of this company becoming free cash flow positive on a continual basis, I will add to my position at that point in time. Before then, there's no point, because the share price could fall further from here. It could halve from here. It could go down 75% from here. We just don't know, because at this point in time, this is a really strong downtrend with no signs of it ending at all soon. Now let's have a look at the weekly chart for Pointerra. This goes back to, we'll say, mid-2019. The really sort of the breakout in Pointerra share price was in July 2020 when Bevan Slattery took a position in this company, and that hype around Pointerra lasted from July all the way through to the share price high, which was in the first few months of 2021, when the share price indeed got to about 94 cents. So I can't remember if this company's done any capital raisings. More than likely they have. So all you have to do is times the current market cap, which is $70 million, by 9. So you get a market cap of about $600 million back when the share price was 94 cents. That's neglecting any sort of capital raising. So a market cap of about $700 million or $600 to $700 million for this company was a little bit absurd back then. But again, that's what happens when companies are really hyped up. When there's a lot of FOMO, a lot of excitement about a company, you'll see the market cap of a company get to extreme levels. And that's also true when a company's valuation share price starts falling. And that's why it could fall further from here. So even if you see value at this point in time, doesn't mean Pointerra share price or valuation can't fall from 70 million to 7 million, because sentiment in this company is destroyed right now. And the only way this company and the management can turn around sentiment is really good financial news from the company. And not only good financial news, they need that momentum. So just one bit of good financial news probably won't do it. I think they need a string of really good financial news. So that's all I have for this look at Pointerra, a bit of an update looking at the March quarter Appendix 4C, which they released about a month ago from when I'm recording this video. But my eyes will be on Pointerra's current quarter results, which they will release in about 2 months from here, so July or towards the end of July. If you have any questions about Pointerra, is it now, if you do know, they've changed the name from Pointerra to Pointerra 3D. I'd love to know that. It's a subtle change, but it's an interesting change, and it does tell me a little bit more about the company as well. So leave your thoughts, your questions in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I am not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.